realized when I was planning this is that I've seen the films, but you all haven't necessarily. And so that was helpful. So because we have such a wonderfully, robustly large panel, this is going to help you follow along with who's who and what film they're here with, but we're going to start by having each person say their name and the film they're with, but only that, and then we'll start a conversation that I hope will get to every single one of you, possibly audience questions. But thank you so much for joining us. It's great to be with you all, and we will start right here.
Hi, I'm Thomas Wengdes. I'm the director of 5.5 Love Stories in an Apartment in Vilnius.
Make sure you use the mic.
Hello, my name is Anna Vidula. I'm co-director of Podnieks on Podnieks.
Yeah, hello. My name is Antra Celinska, and I'm one of two directors for Podnieks on Podnieks, Witness to History.
Hello, I'm Ignas Miškinis, and I'm director of Southern Chronicles.
Hello, my name is Clementina Remikaite. I'm producer of Drowning Bride.
It's an honor. I am Edith Sepp, and I am Estonian Film Institute, the head of the Estonian Film Institute. So, I think I'm here with all the Estonian films. Let's put it this way.
Don't forget to be on here.
Hello, I'm Marty Chupidis. I'm here with Flo. I made the water.
And you have to mention your last name, Martin Čupids, which is very appropriate.
Ah, yes.
If you know Latvian, Upits means river.
Small river.
Small river. Yeah.
River-like.
Hello, my name is Marta Slecka, and I'm one of the directors of Film Boom.
Hey, I'm Andra Dosh, and I'm also a boom director.
Hi, my name is David Siemens. I'm a director of the film Maria's Silence.
Hi, my name is Simeoni. I'm really loud in this.
That's great.
And I'm here with the film 8 Views on Lake Diva.
So as a further icebreaker, because we are all in the United States and it's the weekend of the Academy Awards on Sunday, and we have someone on the panel who will be at the ceremony, if anyone wants to shout out a favorite for this ceremony, a certain award they really want someone to win, this is your chance. This is your icebreaker chance. So, Simeoni, do you want to start with you?
Sorry, I didn't.
Yeah, it's if you need to pass, it's okay. We've got way more to talk about.
Yeah.
But if there's somebody you're rooting for.
Flow.
We just can
Yeah, I think it's difficult to say anything else than Flo.
Okay. You can.
Let's do it all
we'll
together.
Just, 1, 2, 3.
Flow!
I heard
This is yes, it is. Yes.
Yeah.
You can go.
We made the decision.
Okay, so fair enough. And the other question I had is actually for you in the audience. How many of you would call consider one of the Baltic nations your home, or yes, or if are you an American, an expat? How many of you have been to this festival before? Lots, okay. And how many of you are here for the first time? Oh wow, that's fantastic. Okay, so nice work. So I had thought that we might start by asking questions to your respective countries. And one of the things that Davis was helping me understand yesterday, or we were discussing a little bit, is could we open up the conversation by talking a little bit about how you see the filmmaking traditions from your country as distinctive in some way? And so this is not something every one of you has to answer, but if you could, remind the audience what country you're from, and if you have a comment or thought on that, that would be great. And we do have to share the mics, and do please actually use them, because there's folks in the back that
I think it's a little bit weird that because we discussed something yesterday and I thought like that this is something that others could tell something about, but I will start and maybe it's also an icebreaker. But I think because I'm coming from Latvia and also here are other directors coming from Latvia and in Latvia I think there are these couple of directions that we are kind of heading towards to when it's about like filmmaking but one of the things that we are still struggling with is our heritage and that kind of a historical memory and the collective memory, and this is something that is appearing in quite many Latvian films, and they can be let's say more art house cinema or more commercial films, but still we are still kind of reconsidering our history and our the political context in the sense that we are seeing the quite many things that has happened in the past as a historical catastrophe, and then we see these things happening right now in a political sense, which probably is like everyone has seen at least some news reels from today, and we see just the press conference in White House today, and so we can see that there is like this kind of a truly horrible resemblance with some historical situations that we have knowledge of, and then this is a kind of a sad part of it, and I think this is something that Latvian cinema is trying to kind of reconsider once again and again and again, is trying to see the context in between what has happened in the past and what has happened what is happening right now. And I think even when you are not really aware of it, when you are making a film, for example, which would be a film which is totally innocent in the sense that they're trying to tell a modern story, I don't know, a kid film, for example, and still there is some kind of a historical and also political subcontext in it. Yeah.
And that's certainly true of your film, Maria's Silence. That is a period drama and a very serious one at that. With
but that's a very very aware choice, you know. But I think there is some unawareness in some cases, but still there is some kind of a presence of politics and poetics in those films that Latvian directors are making. So I think that there's some kind of a historical shadow over it. I'm not saying whether it's good or bad, but I think it's present, and I think for us it's important, still important, and I think in the context of war in Ukraine it's even more important.
Is there anyone from Estonia or Lithuania who would like to comment?
Yes, I would maybe add, rather than contradict what has been said, that Estonians are definitely dealing a lot with the social drama and the genre films. Last couple of years, the youth, our younger filmmakers, are looking into genre films, and not all the film I can watch myself in the cinemas, unfortunately, because they are very different, and I'm just trying to figure out are they professional or they're not. But going into the genres or being bold in genres in Estonia, because all the films what we do, they are art house, especially here in this context, in American context. We do art house films, we think about our authors. First of all, we try to explain to our authors that you have to think about the audience, but we let our authors to create the way they want. So this is quite a different approach from the American context. So we can afford it, because it's everything what we do is supported by the state aid, and obviously filmmakers are under pressure to use the money wisely, but it gives them the freedom to do what they want. And I would say Estonians, and if we look here, they can play, and they can really do what they want. It comes from the soul, it comes from the heart, and they put their heart on the screen.
Yeah, I think in Lithuania the situation is kind of the same like you told. and I'm really blessed that I grew up with new generation of filmmakers like Laurynas Bareiša, Marija Kaftaradze, Vytautas Katkus. We are all like course mates in film school, and we grow together, and it's really nice to be like a new wave. It's not an official title, but everybody is like talking like about this. And what is also, I think, very important, that we have an opportunity to work with Ukrainian filmmakers and to support them. And in Baltic states especially, there is a scheme and funds which do that. And I think it's at these times, I think it's important not only to support national films, but also to make a collaboration with filmmakers who is not available to do now that. And I think, and I'm really proud that I can do that with my new films. So I think, it's important to support films which has really important themes, but not like straight themes, but also with young generation who is seeing films and themes in national way, not very like political straight, but with reality which we see every day, but with sub-themes which are important in context. I think that like my generation are doing that, and I really support, and I think it's important to support for, especially for fans to understand that this is, time is changing, and we have to be very conscious about not like to say straight away like we support national films with especially very important topics, but also to support everyday themes like in context of this time, which is really kind of scary for us, I think, now.
Can I just comment? Yeah, I think it's very interesting because in Lithuania there is a new generation of filmmakers. Estonians are slightly lagging behind, but we're trying to catch up as fast as possible because we have recognized that it's a very interesting new generation what is popping up. And Estonians also do have it, but we don't make it so big yet, like you do, like winning the Locarno, double win in the Locarno Film Festival. I thought, it's amazing, for a European to have this type of wins, and even when Latvians are going to bring the first Oscar into the region, and I'm saying it with confidence, then just chapeau to the Lithuanian young filmmakers who are coming to the stage right now. It's really admiring.
So Clementina, you just mentioned a new wave, and is that for you? Can anyone kind of comment on the idea of a new wave, and is it limited to Lithuania, or is this kind of Baltic wide?
Actually, yeah, I'm Matis Kaja, who is the producer of The Flow. Actually, he is also a co-producer of Driving Dry. And we met before he became a celebrity, of course. but yeah, and now we are doing his. I'm doing his new project. I'm minority co-producer, and I think this is the collaboration where young generation are doing that, and I think it's important to support. Not only collaborations between, there are, of course, history, old directors, there are history who, connect our countries, but I think it's also important to share that values and what we are, what's our now state of mind, what is happening now around the world. And I think The Flow, I'm super proud, and I think when we are saying these beautiful words to each other, we are actually talking about Baltic states now, and we are very happy for Latvians, Estonia happy for Lithuanians, and so on and so on. So I think it's very nice and important that we support each other, and I think when we are talking about, especially about awards, what is really nice and important to be recognized by the industry, international industry. We are always talking about Baltic states. It's not like Lithuanian, because I remember I met Dita from Latvia Film Center and in Trieste, and it was after Pilgrims won an award in Venice, and it was she met me and told me, Pilgrims, it's a miracle for Baltics. It's a miracle for Baltics, and I was shocked by, wow, it's really supportive, and we recognize the award for all of us, not only one country. So I think this event also proves that we are like Baltic states, not only countries.
So maybe we could shift gears a little bit and talk about who you're making your work for, and as the audience, what parameters do you put around who your audience is, and to what extent are you able to, we talked about export those projects, whether it's, how big are the boundaries? So I would love to hear, especially from Southern Chronicles and the Podniks documentary team and the Boom team on that one. If you could talk about audience and reach of your projects.
So it's not so easy for the director to talk about audience or projects, so, because I don't know. I'm thinking only about myself when I'm making a film. So it's actually it's a way to make a film, I think, and yes, I agree what you guys talked about, and I also I'm happy that, because in those 35 years of independence in Lithuania, there were many waves. Let's say waves or tries to speak, to represent ourselves, and now I think it's time when in all Baltic states the directors they are more relaxed, they are more free, and they are more relaxed and more focused on their characters, on their themes, and I don't know, maybe someone is thinking about the audience when making the film, but not me, so.
But in choosing it, in choosing that project for you, were you?
For me, it was the first time when I didn't choose the material, the producer.
Chose you.
Yeah,
okay.
and this was hard decision for me, because it's first time when it's not me, ego. But later I felt even more relaxed and free in this, material, than it would be my art house, original idea. And of course the book was very popular, but it didn't help. I mean, it's even harder than you receiving the book, the novel, which is already very popular. So the stakes are higher.
Yes.
Okay, but was the question what we made the movie for?
That
yes?
might not be on. Yes, so for those who don't know, we made Boom, which is film for children, and so of course as we've been working together already for different other children's content, so of course this film we made for, actually when we thought about it, it's for really for Latvian children, and it's very national, like with many national things, and also a language and everything like that, and so it will be very interesting to see how other countries' audience children will see it. So it's definitely, of
for children audience.
I think the film is for school kids mainly, for the kids who are going to school. And actually, we have a lot of Latvian traditions into there because, for example, in first day of school in Latvia, we are going with the flowers. And I think in other countries there is not such traditions. But let's see what they will think about it.
Okay, yes, and of course, I think in the Baltic countries, documentaries and animation, I think these are two categories of films which have been traveling quite well already since, many years ago. And yes, I am representing the film Podnieks un Podnieks, and I think Podnieks was one of the first actually directors whose films really crossed borders and crossed really very widely. And with his films, let's say the film Is It Easy to Be Young, I think the whole of the world saw it, and we have some figures where, we have the film had like 43 million box office, which is extremely high for a documentary. So can we reach something like that today? Yes, we would hope for. And I think it's always, I think always filmmakers, when you think of a film, when you think of a project, you first of all, you put all your heart in it, like a real director. But then I think the values and the topics covered in the film, I think it's important that these things travel across the borders and they can reach audiences out in many countries and yes, so there are ways how we can try to do it with festivals, with many different meetings and gatherings. And I think documentaries help us to understand each other. And I think documentaries are very important, especially in such hard and times as now we are having, when you have to have more understanding of the situation, of the real situation in places we are talking about. So I think the importance of documentaries now is even bigger than years before. So that's why, yes, I hope that our and other documentaries will travel, and I'm really very happy to see and to hear about the success of Baltic films all over the world. And yes, Dita was right. So this is all these, small victories are all our victories. And of course, we hope that Flow will put it will be nice, like a cherry on the top for this year.
Will you add a little bit?
I would love to add, I'm also, I have participated in the making of film about Juris Podnieks, and his last concern after we did gain our freedom was, okay, we all are happy that the Soviet system has collapsed. But he said, I have lived in England for 3 years, and even there it's not perfect. The system doesn't work perfectly. Even there, he said, they are not concerned about the realization of the vibrancy of the soul. So we have this high stake for all of us to be such a society in the world that we care about each other's souls and the realization of our vibrancies of souls. I think that's a beautiful thing to set up as a goal. And Juris was asking his friend in one of the last interviews his French philosopher, so what do you think? Where are we heading? What is going to happen now after the collapse of Soviet system? And the philosopher said, leave me alone, how do I know? But the only way is to start walking. And we have to be prepared that the way is going to be long. And now, unfortunately, we see that that's true. And unfortunately, the collapse of this strange system doesn't mean the peace. And we still don't know. But we have to keep walking with that beautiful goal of caring of each other's souls.
Well, that's a tough one to transition from. I would like to hear from you, Tomas, Martins, and Simeone. All three of you have made fictional projects. I don't remember if any of you have had documentary. Well, you're an actor, so probably. Well, maybe reenactment. I don't know. And fictional projects that have traveled quite widely. Do you have any thoughts to add on these kinds of? What about nonfiction versus fiction versus animated stories? Crossing. Reaching more people or not? Thoughts on that? Or something else? You want to talk about something else? We can.
Yeah.
We just want to hear from you. So.
I don't know. I mean we're all storytellers, right? And these are and so as Antra said, there's documentaries can cross boundaries, fiction can cross boundaries. You can make a very specific film that seems so Lithuanian and only Lithuanians will understand, and suddenly everybody in Korea, I don't think it's. I don't think there can be an intentionality about it. I don't think that's how it works, and even with young. Lithuanian filmmakers of our generation, and also, I live in Riga now, so I know a lot of Latvian filmmakers, and I work with Estonian filmmakers, and I don't know, I don't buy it. I think we're European filmmakers, I really do. I think that people are inspired, young people. I mean, Maria loves American indie films. You can see it in her movies. Saule is pure, she's a European film, her influence is European. And I think it's the generation that maybe is shaken off a little bit the Soviet school, but even before. Anyway, I think it gets a lot more. There's a lot more gray area there.
Fair enough. I feel like this got turned off. Do either of you would you add to that, or from your experience, or?
Yeah, I have something. Oh well.
Okay.
Also about audience. I think that's different also from US. Animation is, at least in Latvia, and that comes from my parents. They knew that I was working on Flow, and they wanted to see it just because I was working on it, and not because it was a movie they wanted to see, because automatically they thought it's a children's movie. Because I think that comes also from, I don't know where, but automatically, like, if there's an animation, it's considered to be a cartoon for kids. And that is still true for maybe an older audience, that they feel like that Ginz is making film for children. While in reality he's making film for himself, like most of directors are doing it. And yeah, and after they saw the movie, they're like, hey, but I mean, kids were crying kids were afraid and they were terrified, and the adults were crying during the screening of Flow. And I think it is very important also. I mean, in the context of animation, that animation is like a medium that is meant for everyone.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard for me to comment on that since as an actor I would be playing in I don't know what documentary really, and that wouldn't be playing. But on that topic though, I would just encourage all the filmmakers, either fictional or I mean, actually this way. So. Fictional film directors also to make documentaries in a sense, because my experience with this eight views of Lake Bbff was that the director was actually had done, I think I might be mistaken, but 10 years of documentary works prior to doing another feature film, and this jumps a little bit from this topic though, but working there as an actor, there was a completely different set, or a different sort of. He was searching somehow differently the same truth that whatever director is trying to find when he's making a film, but it definitely was working for him. Just doing both of them.
Did you find the process of making the film to be quite different from past experience?
I think it was the way the director built up the whole procedure of going to the set and going to even starting the filming, and how to get rid of everything you thought you might be wanting to go to do as an actor there, and to shake you out of that shell in a way, and to try to get close to you, and always try to get something very intimate out of you in that sense.
So one of the other questions that I had was related to a kind of the current political climate, and to what end you feel like your work is how is your work I'm not saying it very well. How do you think of your work in relation to kind of current or quite recent past political you don't want to touch that one?
No,
you don't have to. It's okay.
No.
Some of you, I mean, for very, very clearly, some of you are, very much at the forefront of this, and others of you aren't at all, and so.
That was not.
Okay.
That was not. The war. We were shooting the party scenes of my movie when the war started.
Okay.
And the Irish actresses were all there, and their agents started calling, and everybody's free. And then you have these moments. You're like, why am I making this movie when that was never. It wasn't. Yeah. So it changes, because movies take 3 years, whatever, then they're released, and the climate changes, and suddenly you're thinking about something completely different, and at one point you think it's really important to say, like, look at how crazy we all are in our relationships, and then Ukraine is under attack, and suddenly it doesn't matter, and everything. It's a different challenge.
Do you think that influenced the acting, for example, or any aspect of the film in ways you didn't anticipate?
In my case, maybe not. I think I think maybe it was just like a way for even the team, because everybody, it was like a great way to just kind of come together and sort of find some sort of joy in a moment that felt very bleak, but I think that was on an interpersonal level. I don't think, I can't imagine how it would have affected the actual scenes, but yeah, at that point it's just more about coming together and making and doing something creative and finding joy in a time when it's very hard to.
I think I can add that I think it's important that now we we are free and our films could, travel around the world, and they are, selected in the big festivals, film festivals, also awards and so on. And I think this is when we can talk on a stage and say what is important for us. Like filmmakers, like creators, we can stand for what we believe. And our films sometimes, they are showing, as Thomas said, like we are making films like in 3 years. So, the world is changing like every day now. So, so I think it's, we are doing our job as best as we can. The world, is just turning around, upside down. But always we are presenting the film, and we have a stage, and we have a voice, and we can talk about what is now happening. So I think this is important, that we have this opportunity, to talk in international audience and to spread our values and what is important for us. And I think as now we are sitting here and heard the news, but we are still presenting our films, which are, our work, like we are doing daily. So, yeah, I think what we could be proud of, that we can travel, present, and talk what is important for us, not only about films, but what it's matter for us, and how we are proud to be, from Baltic states, I can say.
Just very short, and it's important not to stop.
Yes. Yes. But from the political context, I think it's interesting to add, of course it does affect how much money we have, for example, for our filmmaking. And this entire context does put our politicians and our states to think about, where do we put the money? Do we put the money into culture, or do we put the money into defense? And to making these type of decisions, it becomes harder and harder every day, and we are just in the beginning of this journey. And as a head of the film fund, and also as a filmmakers, we have to stand up and to say that culture is also important, and we need to get our messages through, and we need funding, we need support, we need a freedom of speech in order to do so, and not only for our local audience, but people around the world, so that they know what is really going on and what is happening. So it does affect. And just a funny story, not to become too serious. There's a lot of projects which are coming from US to shoot in Baltic states.
Oh, good, because I wanted to ask about that.
Yes, and then last summer there's a project by George Clooney and Heslov, shooting in Estonia, the TV series called The Agency. You can Paramount Plus, please go and have a look. It's a very interesting, it's a smart TV series, very smart storyline. But what I wanted to say was that yes, it took us half a year to convince that it is safe to shoot in Estonia. And obviously when they arrived to Estonia, they wanted to shoot next to the Russian border. But worse, it goes worse, they wanted to have some kind of tanks and bombs and everything. Just like we have a twin city called Narva, and they wanted to do everything on this city. And somehow they did it, obviously. But so it does affect, in a larger scale, what we can do, what we can't do, and how the people, especially from outside, are very much afraid, sometimes to come to Estonia or Latvia or Lithuania.
I wanted to add that it's good that everybody is referring to the soul or the putting the soul of an artist, and also like that the artwork has some kind of a soul. And but for me, it's good that there's some kind of a esoteric or a metaphysical aspect of filmmaking. But I think nowadays, and when we talk about our space, or the space of Baltic states, which is a kind of a space of the border between civilization and non-civilization, I think it's very important for every director to understand that you cannot be apolitical, that you have to be political. And this is, I think this is of immense importance, because if we are considering that our films are just like that they are not really doing anything with political context, and then we are just not aware how films work on the audience. Because I think any film is giving some kind of a context which are telling the stories of our countries, about our societies, and because we are so influenced from the politics or geopolitics of now, then I think it's really a difficult job. It's really a huge responsibility to kind of to have this kind of a political sense in you, and of course for me it's a little bit easier to say this because my films are just political. It's kind of the easy way out, you know, to make a political film and to say, oh, you know, that you have to be responsible, you have to be very political. But in a way, because it was already said here that we are in a way representing not only our films, but we are representing the kind of the mindset of our people when we are meeting audiences around the world. Then we have to be those ambassadors who are telling about what is happening in our countries. We have to tell what is the evil coming from the eastern side of our borders. So that is something that is so important, and for me, I don't see for a filmmaker, because we are in the art which is so narrative and which is so influencing the audience's understanding of what is happening, that this is, I think, the priority number one, to be those storytellers of politics nowadays.
Well, of course, that was exactly what Podnieks did and said. He said, I'd love to make a love story, but I cannot simply turn my back to the situation that there are tanks in the street. And that's I think very important truth about his personality, is that he had this aim. He had these fantastic aims in all fields, on the human level and on the professional level. He wanted to make feature films, but he did have a mission, and so we all have a mission. I totally agree to you. The primary mission.
As an outsider, newly introduced to Podnieks, it does seem like there is a love story. It's just not a romance.
That's true. That's true.
Yes, that's very interesting. He loved humans. I think he loved people.
Right, and he loved his home.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure how much time are we doing okay? Not too
Let's continue.
We're okay. If you're really dying to ask something, could you let me know? Otherwise, I've got many other questions, but I will just, kind of keep my eyes out for very aggressive jazz hands.
He's gonna lift them.
So one of the things that I actually have to commend you all. Like I've done this with other festivals. I've seen like the whole lineup and whatnot, and there's a bunch, they're like half duds or whatever. This is an extraordinary group of films, and I just really want to say that on behalf of kind of being a go-between between kind of Boston audiences and you all coming here to visit to our city, and so way to go, like extraordinary and so different one to the next. And programmers are always very frustrated by this question of, is there a theme this year? Because, nobody's thinking this through intentionally at all. But sometimes they do kind of naturally emerge. And to me, one is that there is a really strong theme of kind of concern over youth and young people, or a depiction of coming of age in some way. And that's maybe not everyone, but that is really strong in this lineup of films. And so for those of you who really are, hitting it head on, I wonder if you see this as coincidental, if you see it as kind of tied to some of the things that we've already talked about in this conversation or not. Even flow in its kind of, it seems like it's something for young people only, but is not, it's really all ages and very urgent and.
I don't know. I only made water in the cat. Kins has allowed the movie to be so open that you can find any story in this simple story of cats moving from point A to point B, and it could be also coming of age movie, and finding friends and finding family.
But yeah, maybe it is what we were talking in the beginning, that it's a new generation, and the new generation is also reflecting their stories. I don't Estonian films the made by the it's kind of younger generation of filmmakers are not here, but it's a elderly generation who has put the films into this program. But somehow, yes, the pain of the young filmmakers about the future is very much there. And I think in these recent films what we have screened in Estonia, this is kind of a running theme. What is going to happen, or who are we, or what is important, what is nationality? Also, it's quite questioned in many films. And then yes, but with the Lioness, it's definitely, yes, it's a very, very painful story. So I just give a warning here that you are going to cry.
Thank you for bringing that up, because it is because she was the actress was supposed to be here, and so thank you for including.
Katarina, her picture is still up there. So,
yeah.
And it's very, very important and very relevant to our times. The story is very relevant to what problems we are dealing today in society, and not in the Baltics, not in Estonia, but also here in US. It somehow travels really well. The pain is still the same.
Yeah, maybe it's time to add something about the film. For example, Drowning Dry. The film is, of course, about family and relationships and so on, but in the second level is kind of collective trauma we are talking about. It's like people who cannot say what they are feeling. They cannot talk about that, straight away and tell how they feel. Are they happy? Are they sad? Are they angry? And now, for example, new generation, Gen Z, they are straight away and they are talking what is, important for them, what is not important for them. And I think here is that what we can see that all the filmmakers are dealing with their themes, their generation topics. And I think that what is making so differences in the themes. But and all films here, I think the audiences and box offices were really good for these films. So we can see that audience are accepting this difference and they are understanding the themes. And for example, flow, I think for me as a producer, for example, fans are asking for which audience this film is for. And you have to answer, of course, So, and you cannot say in the school I was learned that you cannot say that film is for all audiences. And I was okay, yeah, but now the flow, I think, is for all audiences, because, it's for children, but parents are coming with them. It's for parents, then for, parents have friends, and you can see it's for all audience actually, and now it's you know, you can, I think now you can be more more open what film you want to do and for which audience. It doesn't matter anymore, because is it local for something for South Chronicles, you can say, yeah, it's very maybe local because it's you know, about some 90s topics, what is, you know, beginning of the freedom, independence, and so on. But actually you can just take the story, put in other country, some district area, and you can see it's the same vibe, and it's how you see the film. I think maybe it's more about the context, and then when you pick something and the audience can, you know, just catch and just take, and it's not anymore about how to make the audience to understand. They already are doing that, and we can see in our films box offices and numbers and awards and festivals, and yeah.
I have something to add as well. You were mentioning parents, and actually what I'm thinking about the quality movie is not something that I want to see. It's something that I would like my kids to see, because I'm a parent and I have 2 small kids. I'm thinking about, I would like to show them a good content, a good quality content that they can learn something from, and well, Boom is a good content for my kids. I mean, it's maybe not the right audience yet, but in a few years it will be something that I'm going to show them. And Flow is also one of the movies I'm showing to my kids, because it's a good movie, right?
Does the Boom team want to add anything, because you're really specialists in kids stuff, right?
Are we?
Yes.
What we can add, I don't know.
Do you want to maybe tell us just a little bit about what drew you to that particular project, or just a line or two about what happens?
Yeah, the film is about school and about schoolmates. And actually, with Sandra and actually with Davis, we are all together from we are classmates. And yeah, the story was about the classmates and about the friendship, and there was a bit of superpowers also. And so, what was the question? Yes, we start actually we start work together with Andra in television. We made a lot of kids content for national television in Latvia, and afterwards there was some possibilities to get fundings for feature film, and we got it.
Sounds pretty easy.
It's very easy actually, yeah. For us.
It was not like a kind of this struggling and
yeah, and it was actually, for us it was like a bit surprising that we got such money to make a film for kids. But yeah, it is one of the I think for me it was one of the hardest works in my life, but it was a lot of fun still. And there's, because we don't have like professional actors in a film, only kids. Yeah, and it's quite hard for us, I think.
But they're great.
Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to maybe generalize that we do look very carefully in Estonia at least, and I think Latvia, Lithuania too, that the films what get supported, that we have a repertoire, that there is certain kind of films that we definitely look films for younger audiences. Definitely we are looking very carefully for children's film, animation, well Estonia is supporting heavily animation. So we do make a selection also, that the elderly generation, this kind of historic dramas are going to be represented. So sometimes when we have 2 similar projects, we have to choose which one we are going to finance and which one not. So, and if it's a 2 children's film, then we definitely want to always put money into the children's film. So we try to find the opportunity so that the children will get their their films. And why we are doing it? Because if we don't produce for children, then later on these children who are growing up only with, sorry to say, American children films, they would not understand why Estonian, Latvian or Lithuanian films are the way they are when they grow up. Why do we do the dramas the way we do? So yes, children's film forever. This is a luxury, isn't it? It's a privilege to do it this way, and we do have this luxury, I would say, in Europe.
So it's a suggestion for every director to consider a kid film.
I'm looking to see if there are any. Yeah, okay. So here you are in Boston, in the United States. You're bringing your work here. What do you hope to? What would make it a success to be at this festival for you? Is there anything you want to convey to this audience, especially if they're new to Baltic cinema or new to you and your work? I know that's a really wide open question, but
well, I hope it's going to be a lot of audience and a lot of questions.
Yeah. All right. Hi.
Thank you.
I'm wondering how the movies are viewed in your respective countries. How are people viewing your movies in your country? Do you mean like in a theater versus on TV? Do you mean? Okay. So what are the platforms? Or. Correct. What are the platforms? And the secondary question would be, how is the turnout? Did everyone hear that?
Well, in the general, if I do introduction, and then the directors can do it. Yes, it's admission numbers are rather well. I would say it's not too bad. It's usually it's between 1.9 to 2.0 per capita. So that smaller nations is not too bad, and we are not in it's kind of lower end in Europe. But we do have cinemas. We have been digitalizing our cinemas, so. Estonia can say that we have 50 screens where we screen the films, but because we are so tiny, so definitely screens. And then, but most probably all three countries have also online platforms. Some of them would belong to the bigger broadcasters, but for example, in Estonia, and I think it's Latvia is the same, that we have a separate platform, a home for all the Estonian films called Arcade, where each film that we have ever produced, and it's not only the fresh films, but since the beginning of the times, since we shot on the Nitro films, we digitalize them and then we put them up on platforms. So definitely, I think the health of the cinema admissions and cinema viewing in Baltic states is not too bad.
But yeah. From my point of view, like a producer. Yeah, I think it changed a lot, especially now, because, I don't know, 10 years ago or 15 years ago, it was kind of all new Lithuanian film, and, there was some joke around like, yeah, there is a horse, there is a silent on the screen, very slow, and then there was like, so Lithuanian film, so it's not worth it to go. It's boring, it's slow, and it's not interesting. But I think now audience changed, and it's very important that people are coming in Lithuanian films. And I think now you have to accept the rule that you have to promote your film. It's not like you are get the support, make your film, and that's all. I think you also have to, for example, in USA, the marketing and promotion budget is like equal to production budget, kind of. Some American studio films, yeah. But for example, European films, I think Lithuanian films, we also have to put some, money and, some. If we want for the audience to come, we cannot just make a film from the fun and that's all. We went to the festival and won an award, and now the audience should, come by themselves. No, because the biggest audience, of course, the cinephiles and people who are, filmmakers and love films, they will come definitely. But how to bring the audience, like, who is, watching Netflix, have children, have jobs, and they are just watching films from their home on the sofa, and how to bring them to the theater. So I think this is the biggest now task for producer and for filmmakers, to put some effort in, after the film production, because it's the second job. And I think, for example, for Drowning Dries, it was a big challenge because for distribution, I done by myself as a producer. And yeah, it was a big challenge. Of course, I have my team and my partners at the company. But yeah, we just put the money on the marketing and promotion. We hired a communication company who are promoting some culture products like I don't know, theaters or something like that. And they promoted the film, and it was kind of, I was a client, and they done it for my film. Of course, for me, it was a challenge to talk with the theaters and convince them that, I want to show this film. It's really, art house driven film. But somehow it worked out, and I think this is...
Are you talking about theaters in Lithuania or beyond?
No, just in Lithuania.
You had to talk the theaters of Lithuania into showing your film?
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, because it's...
Was this before or after its festival success?
For theaters, the festival, they doesn't matter.
They don't
about.
care?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's not
Separate.
important.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, if you want audiences to come to your film, you should not mention the festival. Because then there is, a big I don't understand this film, art house film, yeah. So yeah, but I think for Southern Chronicles, it worked differently because it's really audience-driven film, and it's,
No festivals.
One festival, talent festival, but yeah, actually, and now this film is like breaking the records of the box office for, I think this is 300,000 admissions now. Yes.
Yes.
You see, yes.
So there was an historical moment when it all happened, I would say, that, when we celebrated 100 years of our national states, 2018, and I think we all, 3 countries, we had this kind of program to support the film. And I don't know exactly how much Lithuania and Latvia put into the program, but Estonia put 10 million, to be very precise, 9.2 million euros into the filmmaking, like that. And then the private capital all around the Baltic states also started to look like, if state is investing overnight such a sum, so there must be something in the film. And it was a boom, it was a lot of cinemas, like Apollo, but we have one big cinema, but we all share in the Baltic states. They started to look like, perhaps, if we put a couple of millions into the filmmaking, perhaps 4 million will come back in the box office. And in the beginning, they started to do a lot of this kind of comedies and this kind of cheaper versions of remakes from Denmark or Finland, and so it was a remarkable historical point when we decided in Baltic states that we are going to give our audience a present to celebrate 100 years of national state. And we gave the audience, well, in Estonia, 5 films, I don't know how much in Latvia and Lithuania. And it is a remarkable historical turnaround for Baltic cinema. So we started to prepare this film before 2018, but this kind of explosion came 2018 and later. Just to make history correct.
So we have to wrap up, but I'm gonna I know a few people want to make kind of additional comments, and then we'll yeah.
Very briefly, one good thing was that a lot of money was invested into film, but also a lot of money was invested into marketing, and it really helped. And I think it did a miracle because after that, everybody realized that marketing is God. But there is a nice small sort of booklet which is being prepared by our national film centers for Berlinale or Cannes, Baltic Facts and Figures, and I think it's always very nice to see how our films are doing in competition with the big blockbusters and American and other European films. And I'm so happy that every year there are a couple of titles which have reached the top places, which means that the box office has been higher or high if to compare with all what we can see on the film market all around the world, and which has been offered for audience in our cinemas. So I think this is very good and this is very promising. And each year it depends, maybe in Estonia 2 films, or Lithuania or Latvia, even on first place. And I think this year Flo will overcome everything. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Any other parting thoughts? Words of wisdom?
Okay.
Yes. One.
It's just a joke. I was one of the lucky ones in this program when 100 years of the state were celebrated. And I did a comedy on 1930s artists' life, Homo Nous. And in the countryside audience, an old lady came up and said, "Oh, that was a beautiful film. Do we really have to wait another 100 years to get another good film?" Luckily, we see many people are doing nice films very soon after.
Excellent. Are we good? I think we can end in wishing Flo very much success this weekend, but also to thank all of you for being here, and for all of you to make sure you try to find a way to see everything, all the work that's been on stage here today. So
It's worth it.
right.
Thank you to Aaron as well.
Thank you.
And you watched all the films.
I did.